Hi, everyone. Mike White here. Welcome to this week's vlog post. Well, I'm looking at the information and seeing what's going on, and the only thing I can ask everybody is, could this really be the end? Could it be the end of the Fed raising rates? Could it be the end of the pressure on the bond market of not knowing, what's going on with the rate market? Is it now the marketplaces can adjust to wrapping their minds around inflation coming down and being under control and potentially heading back toward much more normal areas. The fact that the Fed funds rate is now higher and bit higher across the board by any measure of inflation, and the fact that we're only 14 months 15 months into rate hikes, when it takes about a year for those rate hikes to grab hold of the economy. Maybe with the next Fed meeting not being until September, maybe with the information that's going to be coming out, we're getting more information on a weekly basis about what's going on with inflation in the economy. And it's really important that we get these next few months before the next Fed meeting and get the data in, and hopefully with the Fed looking at archaic information, with them being behind the curve when it comes to exploring real-time data, the stuff that you and I get to see today is something that'll show up in their radar in September. And maybe we're done with the Fed rate hikes, and maybe this is the time where we're going to continue to see downward pressure in the bond market, rates starting to adjust lower. And again, I don't believe it's going to be dramatic. I don't believe it's going to be a sharp about face and a plunge lower in rates. I think it's going to be a slow but steady fall. And as I've said all along, I've really was convinced myself, looking at the information and seeing what was in the future, that we were probably looking at 5% rates. And I still believe that. And I think a lot's going to slow down the economy in the months to come. We've talked about, student loan repayments and, things like that really putting a drain. And I think it just goes to show why we have to follow the information and pay attention to what could impact the rate market, knowing in any given day there can be some sort of a incident or a tragedy or some sort of phenomenon or occurrence by nature or man that can trigger the market to go in one direction or the other. But by and large, my belief is this last 25 basis point hike by the Fed is the last one that they're going to make this year. At least I hope so. I didn't think they needed to make this one. I think the data was supportive. They should have come up with much more relaxed language. But maybe now, at least the Fed chairman saying that or at least in his words, sounds like it's equally possible for there to be, no more rate hikes, as there is one more rate hike. And I think as time goes on, these numbers come out. And what I mean by the numbers is GDP numbers, pending home sales, are really important. That's really going to come out. It's going to come out this morning. Maybe many of you will be watching this after those numbers have already come out. But you add that to the fact that the ECB rate information is going to come out this morning, as well as typical Thursday jobless claims, but we're also going to get the GDP numbers. And again, all of this pushed together with the fact that we're going to deal, with PCE tomorrow, and then we're going to look at CPI numbers during the course of the summer. I firmly believe, all things being equal, that the real-time data shows us that there's probably not a need for any more rate hikes, and that the fact that there'll be a pause, and if there's going to be a move, in the future that next move by the Fed is lower. Again, just my opinion. The real keys is not just about the information, as you and I know. It's how the Fed reacts to that information and how the markets react to what the Fed is doing. And the only thing that I can say, hey, it's July, it's the summertime. The Fed needs to just shut their mouths, go on vacation, come back in September, and sit down and look at the data and realize that there's nothing for them to do other than to remain quiet and continue to watch the information, because they're not going to help talking about further rate increases and whatever, because clearly they're not necessary. It's just a matter of when they realize that. And again, what we've come to find out recently is, looking at the markets, it's not people who are out there wanting to buy homes. It's not that we have a lack of people who want to buy homes. There is no lack of people who want to buy homes across the country. We've got a lot more people who would like to buy homes than there are homes available. It really is an inventory issue. And the inventory issue is twofold. A, the builders are not helping us by getting out there and building more homes. And to be honest with you, our friends in the real estate arena are not helping us because they're not aggressively getting out into the market and sharing the story as to why now is the time to sell their house and buy the next one. And I know people say, oh, wait, what are they going to buy if there's nothing available? Well, there's not nothing available, especially on a resale. If somebody's listing their house for sale, it's a neutral market. They're going to sell their house and likely buy another one. Not always. There are plenty of people who buy houses, who sell houses and don't buy another one. They either go into a rental market or they move into a house that they already own, because there are so many people that do have vacations homes, second homes, multiple properties. Those things become, really important. Maybe with the rental market stabilizing as far as what rental rates have done this past year, maybe in some markets, some of those investors who own those single family homes who have been renting them decide now is the time, with where the markets are, that selling those houses is a better deal economically for them, and using that money to do something different. Maybe some of those houses come onto the market. But again, it really is important to look at these things and understand, you can look at the data, but you can also look at what is the action or the activities that can be done to change that data. And I really think it's like anything else. It becomes grassroots. It's are we engaging our realtor referral partners with a series of strategies that helps them generate more listing opportunities so that those houses can come on the market and other people can buy them? Are they making the market move? And you know what? If the story is not shared with people as to why they should sell, just like in today's market, in the mortgage side of things, where people say, oh, well, nobody's refinancing. Well, refinances are down over the last few years, but they're certainly not non-existent. Refinances are happening every day. With higher interest rates, with all the things that are happening, credit card rates, home equity lines of credit, car loans, all sorts of outstanding debt. The equity in these houses, people don't want to take a home equity line of credit to pay off their other debts. They're better off, economically refinancing their houses, using a cash out refi and paying off their stuff, and ultimately having lower monthly payments. But these are all things that we've got to talk about, just like we've got to continue to talk about the fact that back to school is coming soon to a community near you. And these last minute home buyers, the people that wanted to make things happen and get things done before their kids go back to school, you're probably one of the last people out there that can help them facilitate that. My clients are closing loans in 10 to 15 days, pretty average occurrence now, because they've done their work and they've got their processes down. In many cases, those 10 to 15 days are enough time to get people into those new houses into those properties before those kids go back to school. And that can be critically important. And next week, we're going to spend some time talking about some strategies that are going to help you with those agents. I don't want to just bring up the fact that you should be doing them. We're going to touch on some subjects or some strategy points next week. Maybe 3 or 4 different things that you can be doing to help your agents generate new listing opportunities, to see if there's things that we can do to help them help the market move forward. As always, questions or comments, Mike at imtcoaching.com. We'll talk to you again next week. Take care.